All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Toxic Masculinity. We are here to entertain, offend, defend anyone and everyone. More than likely to make you think for some of you just might be the very first time. We sometimes refer to this as double D's in your face. Well, Mr. Frye, how do you think I did on the introduction? I kind of tried to change it up, try to make it a little bit more fancier or maybe a little more enlightening or entertaining for the folks that might be tuning on in.
It was shocking.
How'd I do?
It was shocking. It was so short.
Shocking and short. Well,
yeah. It was shocking because it was short. Coming from you, being condensed, it threw me.
The evening is just beginning there, Mr. Frye. The evening is just beginning here. Rest assured, I'm well equipped there to take us well into the evening here. We do have a special guest in the house here tonight, and it would probably take me quite some time here just to list all the different accolades that Mr. Boss Rutten here has right now. A lot of people will think of Boss Rutten as a movie star. They'll think of as a fighter, a cage
supermodel,
fighter, a pancreation fighter. But then to know that he's an actor, an author, instructor, an inventor. I mean, what doesn't this man do? I mean, it's like a Renaissance man here.
Yes.
A man of many trades, many skills. So we welcome to your humble abode, Mr. Boss Rutten here for tonight's episode of Toxic Masculinity.
Thank you very much. I don't knit. That's the one thing I don't knitting.
Oh, come on now. There's time.
I used to when I was a kid, believe it or not. I would make a scarf for you. When I was a young kid, 12 years old. Okay, let's not go into that, by the way.
Don't worry, you got beat up when you were young. Jeez.
Yeah. Till I was 14, and then it stopped. It's always refreshing what happens when you knock somebody out, right? Suddenly people are, okay, maybe I shouldn't bully that guy.
Change their attitude towards you, don't they?
That's how it goes.
Well, boss, you just came in from. If I pry or something like that, because you live in California now, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can we name a city at least?
Ventura County, Westlake Village, California. Don't confuse it with Westlake. Westlake is in the hood, and Westlake Village is a really nice little place, 35 miles up north from Los Angeles.
Okay, I mean, how long have you lived in California, basically in general?
97, I came here with the family, May 1997, and I think in 99 we moved. The first 2 years was in Los Angeles, and then I had it. Plus, at the time I was a big partier, and me in Los Angeles, that meant every night I was going out, and I thought that's not a healthy thing. So we moved out like 35 miles up north, like I said, and that thankfully slowed it a little bit down. Yeah, but that's all it did. Yeah.
Now, where was that gym at? When 10 years ago or so, I saw you.
Yeah, that's Westlake Village as well. You went to both gyms, right? You saw the little one first we had, and then last time I bet you that was the bigger one, the 10,000 square feet.
What's the name of that town? It's not
Westlake.
Westlake.
That's Westlake Village. Yeah, Thousand Oaks. But that's Thousand Oaks and Westlake Village. This is the thing. Like my neighbor is Thousand Oaks. I'm Westlake Village. Like literally one house. It makes no sense. Yeah, and have the same zip code. I don't know why they do that. Yeah, right.
California. Exactly. Who can figure?
Exactly.
But prior to actually living in California, where I mean, I'm trying to, because I know we're going to talk about a lot more of the more current days of Boss Rutten. I'm trying to go back towards where did Boss Rutten actually come from? Where did you live before? A couple of different states or something like this? But actually, were you born in the United States in the first place, or where did you come from?
Dan's a very curious individual.
No, this is good.
Yes, I am. I'm a curious George. Curious George. Always have been.
The Netherlands. That's where I was born. And I moved when I was 36 years old. I was 97. I always wanted to go to America, actually. I have drawings still. I have drawings from Nogi. Nogi was a bird. No gi. Now I think, hey, without a gi, this is weird, right? And I was 6 years old, and Nogi went to America. I had a Dodge pickup truck, a big one. I had a Buick. I always liked America. So when they the offer came at the UFC actually, because when I started fighting in Japan, I beat some guys who did really well in the UFC. And then John Peretti at the time, he came over and he watched me fight, and he said, "Hey, we are interested in having you." I said, "Okay, cool. Let me fight these 3 or 4 fights that I have on a contract here at Pancras. Finish that, and then I come to America. And then in '97, I just moved to America."
Wow, I actually didn't realize this. I thought you lived in the U.S. way earlier than that. That's actually, I'm learning something new here right now. So
He thought you were from Wisconsin or something with that
With
accent.
a weird accent, right?
Well, no. Could have been the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, because Upper Peninsula Michigan, it's almost a part of Canada anymore. So if you would have thrown a few more A's in there, I would have thought you were Canadian.
Dan's, you just got to lead him on, Yeah, he'll believe anything.
You believe everything?
Yeah.
Okay, then
yeah.
I start
He's
seed
not
planting.
simple-minded, simple-hearted.
My wife.
mixed up.
Every time I say, and it sounds weird, but seed plant. When she starts crapping bullshitting, I look at her, because most of the time she acts like she really understands everything from a certain field, whatever she's talking about. And then I look at her, I go, "Is that seed plant again?" And then she started laughing. "Yeah, it's a seed plant again." And what it means is, she said one time she was eating something, and it says in Dutch, I don't know how you call it. It says, anyway, she said, "Yeah, it's a kiemen." And I said, "Kiemen, what is it?" "Yeah, it's from the seed plant." And I'm looking at her, I go, "There's no way that she's right." I go, "You're completely lying." And then she broke. She started laughing. She says, "I do this all the time." I said, "Seed planting." And so from that moment on, I call it seed planting when she starts lying. My poor wife.
Huh. I should probably take that same route there right now. Sometimes I get in trouble when I start putting my better half on the spot, which doesn't work out all that well for me.
No.
That's what they call the doghouse, right?
Yeah, well, but at least it's a very nice doghouse.
Well,
Nice.
Boss Rutten, you're being an inventor. What'd you invent this time?
Oh, okay. So this is the thing. I used to be a severe asthma patient. I had a real bad skin disease, and I used to be. That's actually, excuse me.
How you got into fighting?
That's
right?
how I got to fighting, yeah, because I got bullied on a daily basis, and then finally I knocked out the bully, after a couple of weeks training, or months training, taekwondo, that was at the time the thing, and somehow I didn't kick him, but I knocked him out with a punch, and that's where my quest kind of started. But I also did track and field at a high level. I wanted to become, believe it or not, the Dutch Bruce Jenner. I was a decathlon. No, but he was the 1976 gold medalist. I mean, the guy was a freaking stud.
Boss, what I don't understand is why is Mr. Frye laughing like this here right now? I don't understand this.
What he did in '76 was pretty freaking amazing, right? We have to all agree.
How would you like to be the guy who took second or third to him, who lost to him?
Yeah,
you gotta want to hang yourself right now.
Wow. Okay. Anyway,
boss, just so you know, I don't share that same opinion there right now. Okay, this Mr. Frye right there. Boss, like you said, what he did at the time he did it.
That's
was incredible. What he did as a athlete, a male athlete. Now, what he chose to do later in life, well, that's a whole different story right
Up
now.
to him. I'll let everybody be as be, and that's it. I don't really
Different
mind.
chapter in that book.
Well, again, I said he had an opportunity. He was on the front cover of a box of Wheaties, and now he could be on the front cover of a box of Sweeties now. So I mean, it's his choice.
Wow.
What he wants to be right there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Victoria's Secret. Yeah.
That'll be an addition I won't be looking at.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that because now a lot of things are going through my mind right now. So okay, let's change subject right now.
Yes.
So, okay, going back to the decathlon.
please. Yes.
So what happened was, of course, the worst things that I had was 800 meters, the 5 kilometers. That was hard for me because, of my asthma. But what I used to have these asthma attacks, like say I would be a week in bed, not able to eat because I couldn't breathe, 7 days, 24/7. My mom had to do everything for me, bring the food, but going to the restroom was a freaking nightmare. It took me 45 minutes because I had to go one flight of stairs down. So it was a crazy process. But I realized
I'd let you die.
after, but that's your Father of the Year award right there. What I realized is if I would resume my track and field after that attack, I would always break my running times, and it drove me nuts, and I couldn't figure out why it was. And then suddenly I went to a doctor's office, because I was there a lot, of course, because of my diseases, and I saw a drawing of a pair of lungs in a frame on a wall. And that's when I realized that the infection is not in your lung infection. That we all think it's in your lungs, but it's not. It's in the airways that go to the lungs. Yes. And it showed a healthy, the affected airway, and it showed a healthy airway next to each other. And I go, oh man, I've been pulling air in with resistance for a week, 24/7. So unknowingly, I make my lungs strong, which it's later on I found out it's different. It works different. So maybe I should come up with something that controls the air intake. That was the idea when I was 14. In 2011, I decided to make it. I still had asthma. Every fight I went to, I always was carrying an inhaler with me. If I would sneeze violently 3 times, my lungs would close, and I needed to open it up. I trained 3 weeks with the O2 trainer, with the prototype, and my asthma is gone. And I go, this is weird. So I sent it to my buddy in Holland, who has asthma as well. 8 days later, he calls. He's actually selling him in Holland right now. He goes, dude, my asthma is gone. I go, whoa, we're onto something. So I started doing a patent search, and what do you know? I could take the patent. So I had the patent, and then I start trying to bring it on the market. Now, it didn't work, because a lot of people, if you look at the thing, and especially the first one I show you in a little bit, it looks clumsy, but it's super powerful. It only does, what it does is it controls the air intake. Now, many years further, like 4 years ago, I go to a doctor, somebody, Joey Diaz, the comedian. He set me up with Dr. Belisa Vrenich. She's a world-renowned breathing expert. And I went to her at the 5th Avenue. She had an office there. And the first thing that she did when I came in was measuring my chest expansion. And I know where she was going at. But she's measuring. She says, exhale, inhale. And she goes like, she started laughing. She goes, no, that's not possible. She said, do it again. And I do it again. And she goes, wait. And she walks out, comes back with another doctor. And I go, okay, what's going on? And she goes, well, if I don't bring him, he's not going to believe it. He says, normally somebody breaks the record by chest expansion with like 1/8 of an inch. You just almost went 2 inches more than everybody else. I've never seen anything. So then I introduced her to this product that I had, the O2 trainer, and we found out it's because of the O2 trainer, because this trains your breathing muscles. Now, a lot of people, when you mention the word breathing, they already zone out. They go like, oh, it's yoga, it's whatever, peace, and this. Breathing is the most important thing there is. It's the number 1 priority in the body. The survival rule of 3. The average human being can go 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 minutes without oxygen. And everybody pays attention to what they eat, what they drink. Nobody pays attention to the number 1 priority, which is your breathing. So I start diving into that. Then I found out that your lungs have no muscle. You can't have strong lungs. Your lungs don't do anything. They're just 2 bags. Yeah. The way you breathe is your body expanding, and then you create a vacuum between the body and the lungs, which literally opens up the lungs. So a lot of people say, yeah, your chest expands because you fill them up with air. No, it's actually you expand your chest, and that's how you pull the air in. So it's a really weird concept to wrap around. Well, what you also have to understand is that everybody chest breathes. 95% of the people breathe through the chest. 4 to 6 chest breaths is the same as 1 belly breath. Like I have a video online in where I fight a world title fight, and you see me in the corner, I go, I'm breathing like that. That is completely gone with me. Like now I come out of a super hard round, it's literally this. It's really amazing. I got a message from Lyoto Machida about a month ago, and he's been doing it for a while, just came out of COVID. A week later, he started training. He says, boss, I don't get tired. My muscles get tired, but my breathing is so controlled. I work circles around his students who are 25 years old and who are competing. So I knew, okay, we have something. Now, breathing, the way you expand is your diaphragm. Everybody knows the diaphragm, right? But what is the diaphragm? The diaphragm is a very thin, dome-shaped layer of muscle and tendon. And it's hanging right in the middle. It separates actually the abdominal cavity from the chest cavity. It's just below the heart and the lungs, and underneath all the entire digestive system is there. Now, the diaphragm moves up, and it's attached to the lower ribs here. So at the front, all the way on the side, all the way going to the back. Now, if you expand your chest, then the diaphragm starts opening up like this. If you do it with power, it flattens out, just like a frisbee would. And then from that point of view, you go like, oh, what's that? But if I do it from here, this is it, and suddenly it opens up. Imagine a disc going from here to this in the center of your body. And that's how you breathe. That together with the intercostal muscles, which are the muscles in between your rib cage, open up your lungs. Now, this device, what I made, it's a very simple device. It's weight training for your lungs. You can, so you breathe in. This side has a flap. As you see, it sticks out. And for the people who buy it, this is on purposely done like this. So there's a reason that this thing is like that. And this side, if you breathe in, this closes, which forces you to breathe into this side, right?
Right.
And this comes with all different kind of sizes. It goes from 14 millimeter all the way to 1 millimeter. So you can fine tune, slowly but surely, can go stronger and stronger. To give you an example how it went with me, in 2018, I started doing it every day. And I went with a resistance hold that was 4 millimeter. So then 2.5 years later, like last year somewhere, I looked at my wife and said, you know what? I'm going to try that same setting, see how fast I do it now. So what you do is you do breathing exercises with it. You have to lean over, inhale with explosive power, sit up straight while you're doing it because you're training your front core breathing muscles. You do 30 repetitions. Now, I time myself, and you can see this on Facebook because I post every day videos of me doing those breathing exercises. Hopefully that inspires other people to do it as well. So in May 2018, I had screen 11. Let's just say right now, it took me 3 minutes and 45 seconds. When I did it a year ago, I did the same thing in 55 seconds. So 3 minutes 45, I went to 55 seconds. I was on Joe Rogan one time and I said, oh, it increases your stamina with 15-20% at least. And he thought it was very, he couldn't believe it. And I go, well, I kind of lied there a little bit because it's only for 95% of the people it will do that. Actually more. If you train your breathing muscles, you can take up to 5 times more oxygen than when you breathe through your chest. It's a big difference, but nobody breathes like this. You know, by the way, why people don't breathe like this? Or why they breathe like this? Till they're 5.5 years old, everybody breathes perfectly using the core.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the boys and the girls, they start seeing superheroes and they start to see people and they realize that if I breathe through my belly, they might think I'm fat.
Yeah, right.
And that's why they start breathing different. Of course, there's different reasons as well. Sitting a lot in school, that's a reason. The doctor who puts the stethoscope high on your chest, breathe in for your lungs. No, your lungs are here. You know, they're not over there. So all these confirmations make a kid start breathing the wrong way. All the diseases, if you ask a pulmonologist, 85% of all the lung diseases are in the top part of your body because that's where people breathe. Now, 4 to 6 of these breaths, as I said, is the same as one belly breath. So if you train the correct way, which this thing will force you to do, you have immediate success. I had a SWAT member. This is a true story. These are 100% true stories. A SWAT member did it twice in a row, and then he ran. And he said, I broke my running time. And he says, it's impossible because I only used it twice. No, he was breathing wrong before. Yeah. And now he was forced to breathe using his core. So with that kind of breathing, he started running and completely changed his time. So that's the power of the O2 trainer. Now, there's a lot of more things that you can say about this. But I'm kind of hoping for questions from you guys, what you want to know, because then I can fill it in. Because most of the time, it's the same questions that I'm going to have from people at home as well.
Yeah, well, I started breathing through my belly when I did the acting thing, you know, because they'll tell you to breathe through your belly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes some coaches will. Singers also, you know, they start, you know, there's I think the Alexander method, I think it's called. There's somebody who was an actor, actually came up with that. Because he started losing his voice, it became less powerful. When I was training with the O2 trainer, the prototype, at restaurants, my wife would say, keep your voice down. All the time. And I go, what am I doing? I'm not speaking loud. But I realized and now we have singers and trumpet players and every horn instrument player. Everybody's using it because it's more power. I had a review from Chris Mostert. He's the sax player from the Eagles. Yeah. And he said that he had longer and stronger notes. The reviews are insane. It's all 4.5, 5-star reviews. Or a person comes like last week. I had somebody says, "Oh, the thing I gave it a 2-star because the flap was sticking out." I said, "Well, the flap actually sticks out for a reason, you know, because I trained with this prototype, and when they gave it to me, they said, "How thick do you want to make the flap?" I said, "I just make it thick for now." So when I got the prototype, I realized, "Ooh, this may be a little bit too thick and it sticks out," but let's try it out, see what happens. And what I realized is that once you breathe in, you have to do it with a lot of power. If you don't use a lot of power, you hear air slipping in from this side, which forces you to put the pressure on, so to say, to do it harder. Now, if you want to get rid of it, it's very simple because there's a washer inside here. I don't know for the people to see, plastic washer. You take this out and then the whole slipping part is gone. You know, but I suggest that pretty much 95% of the people leave this thing in because it will actually help you, because every time when you make you work harder.
Makes you work harder, and that's what you want to do. So training the breathing muscles is one of the most important things you can do in the body. recouping better. Anxiety, PTSD, back problems. That's why I told you, you're going to have to start doing it because it aligns your back as well because you put so much pressure on it. There's a lot of core pressure. I have guys buying them now for their abs because they could never have abs, and now they have abs. My core is so freaking thick right now, but I've been doing it for 3.5 years. It's bizarre how strong it is right now, but you feel it with everything. You recoup faster. It's good for sleep. Whatever you want to use it for, it works. It's amazing.
Honestly, did you say that you first came up with this when you were just a young man?
Yes, when I was 14. Yeah, I was 14 years old. I had normally I have my keychain with me, and what I had on my keychain I have a washer, like a little metal washer. Because that's my reminder. That was my first O2 trainer, because I would put that washer in front of my teeth and I would try to breathe in through that little tiny hole.
That little hole.
But then I thought, this is very dangerous because if it shoots in your freaking lungs, if it's in your lung, that's it. You can't Heimlich it out. You're dead. So I thankfully I stopped doing that. And then what sparked my interest was when Wanderlei Silva was one of the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. And I used to call this thing, that was the idea I had. I didn't make it yet. They called it the Ruttenizer. That was the name, the Ruttenizer. Ruttenizer, we thought it was a great name. And suddenly he shows his students training with snorkel devices. And what he is doing, he's rebreathing carbon dioxide, and that will trigger a little bit of your red blood cells. That's what swimmers do as well. And if you do that long enough, you get a little raise in your red blood cells in your body. So my phone went nuts. Everybody's texting me, dude, you got to make the Ruttenizer because somebody's going to make it. Somebody's going to make it. And that actually put me on the path to say, okay, maybe I should make it, because what if somebody else comes with it? Right. So and I made it, and all these results are just crazy right now.
It's great.
Yeah.
Shit. How are your sales going?
The sales are going good. We've been hit by COVID really hard. We were selling so much in 2020, and then in August it went so good, and we made them in China. And I saw these crazy camps over there with people working, kids working, and I don't want to do this anymore. I want to make it an American-made product. So this one now is made in America, but there was so much crap with the COVID. I ordered a new one in August 2020. And they were ready 6 weeks ago. So, and this is not even there's another model coming that was the original that I wanted to have. This is a backup that I made because I said, okay, let's make a real good one right now, with fine-tuning caps in there. It's a long story. But anyway, this one was first ready, and now hopefully in 4 months, the other one is going to come out as well.
So there's like different levels.
There's different levels. The other one is you're going to have to turn a knob, and then the level gets smaller. I like this because these ones have really fine-tuned. This is a millimeter, and then this is 1.5 millimeter. Before I didn't have that. I went from 1 till 2. But the difference from 1 to 2 millimeter, although it's a really tiny hole, it's a big difference.
Right.
Like 30 repetitions with 2 millimeter, I would do, let's say, in 3 minutes. And if I do 1 millimeter, it would take 6.5, 7 minutes. So I thought, I got to find something in between there. So that's why we did 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. And from that moment on, everything goes 1 millimeter up.
So you bend over and then you come up. And
What you're doing is you put it in your mouth, you breathe out, you exhale first, you bend at your diaphragm level, that pushes a lot of air out, and then you completely lean forward. Then you start inhaling with explosive power, and then you try to time it in such a way that once you sit up straight, that's the end of your inhale. Now, these muscles, these are the ones that you train with that exercise. Then is an exercise number 2. This, by the way, takes 4 minutes a day. This is not a big thing. One day I do exercise number 1, which attacks these muscles, and exercise number 2 attacks your back breathing muscles. Now, your back breathing muscles, almost nobody uses. Once I started incorporating that was Dr. Belisa told me, you got to do that. Then my stamina went straight to the roof. It was the difference was bizarre. The thing is with people at home, if you have an auto trainer, you do for the very first time, you do exercise, the back breathing exercise. It's exercise number 2, we call it. Don't do 30 repetitions. I was that idiot who did that. And since you never use those muscles, dude, I walked around for 5 days in intense pain. Like I worked my back really freaking hard. So just do 10. Don't call your ego. Don't, just do 10. The next time 15, then do 20. And from that moment on, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. Yeah. But work yourself into it. That's what I would suggest. And talking about breathing, so people have a little bit of an idea. You know that there was a bunch of monks in Japan They would meditate for 9 years. They would not run. They wouldn't do anything. Meditate and breathing exercises. These guys, you're not going to believe this. I couldn't believe it. They can run 200 miles in 24 hours, 2 days straight.
Really?
8.3 miles an hour. Think about this. It's freaking crazy. I mean, you can look this all up. I mean, it's insanity. There was a chief. What is it? There was an Indian chief who actually could be the guy who broke the first 4-minute mile, the record. He did it. Apparently, they timed him in 3:58. He did it. He did it before Bannister did. Sir Roger Bannister, I think is his name. Yeah. He was the first guy who broke the 4-minute mile. But also that guy, he ran 120 miles. 2 times he did this, apparently, within 24 hours, but in the mountains barefoot. I mean, think about that. But it's all breathing. They're focused on their breathing. Once you supply your body with the oxygen it needs, what's going to happen if you get a surgery? Do they take oxygen away or give you more? Of course they give you more. You see what I mean? Everything works better with more oxygen.
Like the hyperbaric chamber, yeah.
That's it, that hyperbaric chamber. And especially if you go under 1 or 2 bars and you breathe through pure oxygen, that's actually natural EPO. Then it stores into your system. This is not, a lot of the breathing devices, they say, it's the same as high altitude training. It's a complete lie. This is not it. But this is actually better because this trains your muscles. So now you delay the onset fatigue and you're going to be able to have a higher workload for a longer period of time because you train those muscles. Talking about gassing, when you gas, you know what that is, that feeling of gassing? This you can find in medical books. This is what I'm going to say right now. Gassing is oxygenated blood leaving your limbs to support your breathing muscles, because those are the number one priority in the body, because nobody trains those muscles. It's called blood stealing. That's literally a medical term, blood stealing. It steals the blood from all the limbs to support the breathing muscles. So once you start training those, and you can only train them with a resistance device like the O2 trainer, unless you do that, you're going to run out of gas all the time. It's inevitable. Inevitable. That word I still don't get, man. I'm living 23 years here, and sometimes I still miss on that one. The gracious, I heard that say.
Is this something that you use in your training for upcoming fights, for example?
No, this was the thing. Yeah, for you. Yeah, for a person, if you do this before your fight, I would start 6 weeks out. And this is also I have these published medical journals on my website, so you can see. Oh, this is not me. This is literally published medical journals. You can't doctor. You know, it is what it is. Whatever they say, that's the truth, because nobody can do something with it. And they say that if you do this twice a day for 6 weeks, and after that you can maintain it by just doing it one time a day, twice a day, and after that you can do it after 6 weeks, you can maintain it by once a day. You take care of all the lactic acid in your core. And now you're going to go, yeah, what is that going to do? Well, the more tight you are in your core, the less you can expand. And you need chest expansion to have full capacity of your lungs. If all the lactic acid is gone, then you can breathe much freer. How many times when you guys didn't train for, let's say, 3 months, and you go back, the first workout is a freaking unbelievable workout, right? It's always the best. But then the second day, because now all the body aches, everything is hurting again. What happens is all these muscles are relaxed. You can just simply breathe easier. That's what happens if you take all the lactic acid out of your body. And people who think that they don't need it, think about this. After the age of 29, this is, and again, I'm telling you this the whole time, because otherwise you're going to go, yeah, this guy just makes it up. You can look this all up. After the age of 29, your chest flexibility, so thoracic flexibility, and your lung volume are at its peak, at best. That's great news, but the bad news of that is that after the age of 29, unless you add breathing work to your routine, it's going to go downhill. So the amount of oxygen that you move in and out of your body is going to decrease. And the only way to do it is doing breathing exercises, and especially breathing exercises with resistance.
So it's like having a midget strangle you or something. Huh?
Pretty much around your chest. Yeah. You know what the fun thing is?
Fat woman sitting on your chest, huh?
Okay. Yeah, no. But listen, this is a fun thing. So a long time ago, I won a fight with the boss with the neck rank. There was a move that I made up, and what I did from Scarfold, I have his head, and then I would grab a leg, I would grab the inside of my leg, and I would wrap him around my body. And I told everybody in the dressing room, Frank Shamrock, Guy Metzger, everybody was there. I said, watch, I'm gonna finish this guy with the boss with the neck crank. I came up with a new move. And 4 minutes later, I got him in the boss with the neck crank. Now, at that time, I didn't know anything how body worked. You know what I did? I stopped his chest from expanding.
Yeah.
So I stopped him from breathing.
Right.
That's how I won the fight. Because if you can't expand your chest, you can't breathe. And people go like, is that true? Breathe out, close your nose, and try to expand your chest. You can't. You can't expand your chest. You can only expand it if all the airways are open.
Okay, here's a question here from a competitor's perspective right now. You're in a, let's say you're in a UFC match, something like this, or just any standard MMA match today. You do a 5-minute round or 3-minute round, and you get your 1-minute break in between. Do you think that trainers should incorporate some type this breathing device during that 1 minute?
No, yeah, no, 100%. They all should. Listen, I got rid of these breathing exercises. It started with the trainer from Usain Bolt and 3 other gold medalists. He contacted me. Oh no, he wrote a bad review about my competition. And I called my manager and I say, hey, call
what competition?
I'm not going to say the name. The competition from a breathing device as well. I don't want to tear him apart. But anyway, he wrote a really bad review about him. And I told my manager, my manager calls me and he says, hey, did you read the review? I said, no, but I can guarantee you it's a bad review. He said, how do you know? I said, because they control the air in and out, which simultaneously is not a good thing, because if you breathe out with resistance, you can never empty your lungs. And if you breathe in with resistance, you can never really fill them up because it's with resistance. So you're kind of breathing shallow, so to say. I said, but do me a favor. Try to contact that guy and see, I want to send him a note to trainer. And he goes, do you want to do that? What if he writes a bad review? I go, we're curing asthma right now. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a bad review. He calls the guy. And the guy, he says, hey, I'm representing Boss Rutten. The guy goes, O2 trainer, we're already using that. First thing he said. So now I got in contact with him. Chad Masias is he. Very freaking high-level trainer. And he started telling me about the breathing exercise. And that was the front core breathing exercise. And then once I got in contact with Dr. Belisa Vredic, and I'm doing a course right now as well. That's why all these numbers, and that's why I know exactly what the diaphragm is, because it's all in her books. She has this really great book, Breathing for Warriors. You really, if you're into breathing, you should check that out. But then she told me, you got to do the back breathing exercise as well. And once I start combining those two, boom, that was it.
So I bet you feel a lot better then too.
It makes you and recoup from everything better. You sleep better. You can better inhale. I mean, it's the anxiety. I didn't know. But of course, if you think about it, anxiety is bad breathing. Right. Stop breathing, that's anxiety. You know, what it also does is training your breathing muscles. It activates the parasympathetic state. And the parasympathetic nervous system, that's the nervous system that gets you calm. What do they always say before they go in, the cops, or the military? They go, I took a deep breath, because it lowers your heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, takes down the cortisol levels. That's what happens. And you can only get that if you breathe diaphragmatically. That's what they call it, breathing through your diaphragm, or horizontal breathing. That's another name for it.
Well, I'll give you a little breathing story here, boss, if you don't mind. I'll regale you the story, because I wasn't one of these guys that went in any of these long training camps.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I only ever did 2 training camps in my entire career. Once for 32 days, and once for 35 days. That was it. I mean, for a couple of different reasons. There was no real money, so I kind of looked at it. I'm just like a journeyman. Sure, I was doing all my other stuff, and then I'd run off, do a match here, run off, do a match there. But during the no holds barred, I could not implement this, because you either had it or you didn't have it at that point. But when they finally started incorporating rounds, I kept thinking, who's going to breathe better? A person who's sitting down on a stool slumped forward, and now again, everything is kind of collapsed and impeded and stuff like this. You got someone who's in your face. You got people doing all this and that to you. I always would stand up tall. I would put my hands on top of my head, and I was breathing deeply into all the way through my chest and my stomach and stuff like that, back and forth. First off, knowing that I'm getting better breathing than what my opponent's getting, but the psychological aspect is, the fact is, they're looking over there and they're seeing that old guy isn't sitting down.
Yep, 100%.
He must not be tired. I'm like, Sure, I'm tired, but am I going to tell them that? No, I'm sucking air from every orifice of my body at that point in time.
Yeah, and you're 100% right, because if you're sitting crunched, you can't use your core really to do it. And how all this, we're all like the same, right? As a fighter, everything needs to be tight because you want to show your abs, you want to go. Right. Well, the tighter your pants, the less you can breathe.
Yeah.
And we were knocked it up, remember, when we were fighting? We're such idiots. I mean, if you see that clip where I'm breathing, and then if you see me doing this now, at the same pace, whatever I do, it's insane. When Lyoto Machida called me and he says, it's so weird, my muscles get tired, my breathing not. And this is what I told my wife every single time. I go, it is so weird. My muscles never got tired of fighting. It was always my breathing couldn't catch up. Now it's the other way around, because you can keep going and eventually your muscles are getting tired, But it's a way better feeling because you breathe diaphragmatically and nice and relaxed. Listen, both you guys I brought for both of you one. You really have to do it. If you do this for 30 days straight, which is only 4 minutes a day, I don't think you're going to stop anymore. I totally believe. And for the asthma and COPD patients at home, if you do this 30 days straight and your asthma or COPD is not 70% gone or entirely gone, I give you your money back. That's my guarantee. The thing is, though, I need to see 30 videos of you actually doing the exercise, because you know people, right? Yeah. If I say now 4 minutes, you're going to go, 4 minutes, it's easy. It's a workout. You're going to feel this. I mean, you're going to feel your core muscles a lot.
Every fighter, wrestler knows that 30 seconds is a long time.
Exactly.
15 seconds is a long time.
So most of the time what I do is before I work out, I do it. Or sometimes after a power training workout, I do it. But if you do core exercises, don't do the O2 trainer afterwards. I realize it's not a good combination. You want to do it before. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to plug it several times through there, but if people want to know where they can get this device, where people tune into, was there like a website or
O2 Trainer, O2Trainer.com. Go there. You see, I wrote a few things down. The breathing IQ. You know what my breathing? Go to thebreathingiq.com. This is where you can test what your breathing IQ is. Most people probably have 60. I had 181. They've never seen anything like it when she measured me. She said, yeah, that's it's unheard of. 100% is good. I have a 181. So that's, and these are real numbers, guys. This is nothing that I make up. Also, that video that I say, 55 seconds, going from 345, you can see all the video. If you go back on my Facebook page, you will see that video of me doing it with the time underneath, everything written at that time, and now you see me doing it in 55 seconds. It's crazy.
But you said that the breathingiq.com, that will take you to your device, but a lot of good information as well.
No, for me, go to o2trainer.com or say boss with a lung training device. It will pop up. But, the great thing would be if you, for instance, go to the breathing IQ, check your own IQ, then get an O2 trainer, and a month later do it again. See what happens. I guarantee you'll double your number. Yeah. Is that big of a difference? It depends, If you're already a diaphragmatic breather, then it will be less, of course, because then you breathe. Then you're one of the 5% of the people who are actually breathe the correct way.
Okay, and you're saying O2 trainer.
Yes, O2. Trainer. But just to make sure I did O2 trainer, I also have that linked to that same website because I know people are going to do that. Yep.
Yeah, because I look at it, okay, O2. You were saying it sometimes so fast, I kept thinking, I better write this down. I want other people that are maybe not as fast as what you are. Okay.
Well, it's all starts slowing down, guys. We know that, right? Our age. I was just laughing. You remember before? You sit down, I sit down, you, and everybody goes, I go, look at us now. Yeah. 56 years old, pain everywhere. Shit, it's so crazy.
20 years ago when Katie, my oldest, when she was 1 or 2 years old, I came home from from Japan, and she's sitting down. And she's what the hell is she doing? She's imitating me. Yeah. That's the noise I make when I sit down.
I used to, when I had to watch the baby by my firstborn, and my wife would be at work, I would put her she's in the box. In Holland, you have these boxes where you can put them in and can play in there, right? Yeah. But I will put the weights in the same room so I can keep an eye on her and I do weights. But suddenly she started growling. And she was, but it was because me was going,
Yeah.
She started imitating me, same as her. My mother goes, you make a monster out of her.
Yeah, it's good. It's okay to have a tomboy as a daughter, though. That's there's nothing wrong with that
100%.
whatsoever.
Yeah, better than the complete opposite.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say it's okay to have a tomboy as a girl, but it's not okay to have a tom girl. Yes.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, when you first were talking about inventions, I actually thought you were going to talk about your striking, kicking knee apparatus because you've had that out for what, almost 20 years or 20 plus years?
Yeah, a long time. Also, at least like 13 years or something. And that thing, the body action system, BAS, body action system, it's doing really well. Because if you look at it, you're going to go, that's never going to hold up. I broke 2, and I kicked the head.
Right.
So, and I go full on the thing. And that's after 11 years. So it's really sturdy. If you set it up like it's supposed to be set up, it's really good. There's a lot of workouts that I have with it. You know, everybody knows my audio workout. A lot of the guys work out on the audio workout. They've been asking me for a new workout for years. And I go like this. For 8 years, I have 18 new ones. It's on that website, bodyactionsystem.com. If you like my audio workout, you want to bring it to the next level, trust me, it's insanity. The new levels. And that's why it comes to level 1, 2, and 3. Don't go to 3 right away. I warn you right now because you're going to go, oh, shit. I should have started with 1.
You might want to start working out with your O2 toner
Exactly.
there first, trainer.com first, then get on the body action system. No, it's, boss, I mean, I'm really impressed with, I did not know anything about this, the O2 trainer whatsoever, but I did know about your body action system because I've seen it at a number of gyms. So it's kind of like, and I've actually used it a few times. So
nice, good, yes. As long as it's set up the correct way. Some people they set it up in such a way, go like, how can you think like that? For instance, if you have something that you want to that you're pushing from here, right? You would think you put the bar here, right, behind it, to stick behind the door. Some people set it up like that. And so it falls over. He goes, it falls over. I go, and then when you tell them, you look at the instructions, you know, then they get offended. Instead of saying, oh man, I was an idiot. They don't even own it. They're going to go, oh, it's stupid. You should have said that. Just look at the picture and just common sense. Who thinks like that? It's the most incredible.
A lot of people.
It's like putting a stick against the door, but the door opens to the outside. You know, it's just not really working, right?
Boss, we kind of covered a little bit this a little earlier before getting even going live here right now, but common sense is not very common anymore.
Oh.
Stupidity is running rampant. Well, I'll kind of leave it at that there.
Hey, I thought we weren't getting political.
Well, there it is.
I can put that just across the board. I mean, it's some of the stories that we talked about before that I actually have a teaching degree from Arizona State, and I've done a lot of substitute teaching, and it really it just blows my mind what these teachers leave behind for me to try to teach in their place. And I'm going, half the time I just wad up with what I see and I throw it on out, or I just rip it on up, shove it right back in the box, thinking, well, some of the principals, not the principals, usually it was the secretaries that would meet me when I was going into the office at whatever school I was walking into, and then it might be my second or third time that I see this stuff, and I just throw it back in the cubby hole, like, aren't you going to need your instruction? I go, the guy left me nothing. So it's kind of like going, I'm actually going to go in there and do something called teach for the first time and teach these kids how to use this gray matter, this apparatus up here above their shoulders.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You make everything easier. You know, like we always talk about this. Everybody gets a prize. You can't lose anymore. You set them up for failure. Cause and effect. If you lose a fight, what does that mean? You're going to have to train harder, get better in technique, right? Yeah. If I win anyway, why would I go get better? Right. It doesn't really matter. You see, so at school already, they immediately start failing them. Everybody gets a prize. There's no more losers. Yeah. It's the dumbest thing there is.
It is,
incredibly
stupid.
Yeah, because the kids who are overweight and who eat bad and everything, maybe losing will inspire them to maybe start running a little bit and get healthy. Don't we want our kids to die of old age instead of a freaking heart problem or whatever.
You would
it is.
think.
Yeah,
You would think
diabetes, heart
Yeah.
problems, all that stuff there. That
You don't want to hurt their feelings,
Oh, that's another thing. Oh, no, this is the worst. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want. You can do. No, you can't. I want to be a jet fighter pilot. There's no my ADHD. I'm going to crash everything. I know I can't. I know my limits. It's stupid. I want to be a world greatest guitarist. I can't. So stupid.
Well, boss, you coming from the Netherlands, and you said you came from the Netherlands. You said you're at 35 or
36.
36. Okay, so again, every time that I travel, because again, I'm born and raised here in the United States, from the state of Michigan, but every time I travel within different countries, I see an immediate difference in the people. Because usually most foreigners, they're thinner than most Americans because they do this thing called walking.
Yep.
They walk more, they bicycle more. They just, I think they actually engage in a lot more social type of things, but it's not grabbing your cell phone. It's simply just working your thumbs out. I mean, they actually go for walks.
But
talks.
not only that,
just-
then the food here, everything. I came to America and I ordered a Coke, and they said, "What Coke you want?" I said, "Give me a large one." In Holland, the large is as big as a small one here. When they give me half a gallon of Coke, I go, "What is this?" He goes, "That's a large Coke." I go, "Okay, large pizza." Large pizza in Holland, this is the pizza. That's what you get. It's a food. It's like they do it in Italy. Here, a large pizza, and then people get used to that. And they do it more and more and more. It's the amount of food that they eat. Everything is more. And they should start cutting portions smaller. That's what I believe. Because people are just a herd, and everybody, you expand your belly, right? Now you need more and more and more. It's a disorder.
Well, I think a lot of the Americans, they understand your breathing routine, but it's not for breathing, it's their expansion through food consumption.
And by the way, I'm going to go to another plug. This helps with natural weight loss. Also, can read it in medical journals, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, because it really works your core. Like a lot of people in the beginning. Now, I always thought this. If you do stamina, that's the way to lose weight. But what we don't realize is it's not. You lose fluids, but you don't lose weight that you need to lose or gain weight. The best way to lose fat is power training. It's not stamina going all the way. It's power training. You burn way more fat with that than by hitting a bag. How is that possible? I always thought that wasn't. But once you think about it, it's actually true. Because all those muscles that you're working, they need a source, a food source. And what is the first thing they're going to attack? Is the fat. You see, and that's why you lose so much weight. And yes, you lose weight after a 5K run, but it's most of the time it's just fluids. The next day you're the same weight again because you drink the fluids again. You see what I mean?
Okay, here's all right. Why is it that when they have these eating contests, I know we're going way off to some tangent now, but when we see these different eating contests, why is it always this little Japanese fellow that's winning all these hot dog eating contests?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the guy he actually looks like he's in shape and stuff like that, but a lot of the other representatives, they are what you expect to see, really heavy-set individuals.
Yeah, and if you look at Kobayashi, I think is his name, the world champion, he's actually beaten now by an American guy who is a bigger guy. But if you see his workout routine, dude, he's like a freaking pro bodybuilder almost. He goes full attack 2 hours a day. He's training his muscles, and that's why he just burns everything that he puts in. Yeah. I don't think it's a healthy thing, especially once you start eating a lot of meats. Meat is great, but I don't think like 5 pounds of meat every day is simply not a good thing. Everything too much is not good. Too much love. That's the only one. Right there. Right there. Okay. Sitting next to you.
So you're talking about that word called moderation, because I'm a big believer that you can do almost anything as long as you use that word called moderation.
That's it. 100%. Moderation, temperance. Controlling the appetites, right? And the appetites, I mean everything with. Well, that's where addiction and everything else starts. Yeah. It's all about not control. Yeah, I was talking to Don about that. A lot of people, they think they're in control because they can drink whatever they want, they can have sex whatever they want, they can be angry, they can shout. You're actually not in control because you're not in control of your vices. You can't say no. If you come home, for instance, and you have a 14-hour day, and then it's 10 o'clock at night, you still have to eat, you have to shower, the next day you have to go up at 4 o'clock again, and it's another big day, but you're really mentally drained and you really want to take a few drinks. Well, saying no at that moment to those drinks, well, it's kind of hurting you, right? It's kind of suffering. But it's the smartest thing to do. But nowadays, we're in such a way, we want it, we take that. I can't calm down, I take a pill. I want to lose weight, I take a pill. Cholesterol is up, I take a pill. Everything is sleeping, I can't sleep. Well, I can't sleep, but it takes 30 minutes. I want to sleep now. So they take a sleeping pill. Everything is pills. Nobody is simple. I used to be exactly like that. I did everything. Pills for high blood pressure, pills for cholesterol, for sleeping. I did everything. And then I realized, wait a minute, let's clean up my life. And then I start eating healthy. And that happened actually after my last fight in 2006, because it was the first time, because I was 42, that I had a nutritionist who helped me with my food. And I felt so amazing. And that's when I started cleaning everything up. And what do you know? Everything went down. No medication to go to sleep. I mean, by simply eating healthy and being healthy. It's that simple.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. This the American diet it's horrible, but then a lot of times when you look at how food is made, how it's processed, refined, and all the different additives, and then they have the masking names that go along there, so they're not telling you all the different types of sugar that they're putting in to make things taste better when they're not even coming close to eating real food anymore. So it's some of that stuff is, both Don, Frye, and myself, we both went down to South America and to get some stem cells. Yep. And they gave you a diet plan that you should be on at least 30 days before your body takes on the stem cells, and then even afterwards, some of the things that you should do. But to me, a lot of it was common sense. But as we stated earlier, common sense is not very common anymore.
It's out. Yep.
It is so much, but the simplicity of driving through a fast food restaurant in the mornings to grab that quick fix of something to eat, something to drink. Right? Like you said, I know a lot of Americans, they go to there just to get that big gulp type of Coca-Cola there in the morning. And that's not doing them a whole lot of good. When you see all the different videos of all the things you could do with the Coca-Cola there to clean up your battery terminals and the whole 9 yards, you know that you're putting that in your stomach at that point.
It's insanity. And for me, I'm very good with building a habit, and I stay with it if something is good. Like, for instance, if you see me eat sweet potatoes. This morning at 6 o'clock when I was driving up to the airport, my wife was driving. If you see the amount of sweet potatoes that I eat, it's crazy. It's 3 pounds at least. And I do this every single day. And why would I do that? Because I always feel good. I never have a bad experience if I do that. The only time when I eat different is when I'm on the road in the morning in a hotel, and I will eat eggs, and don't get me wrong, I will eat steak and I will eat the good food later on the day. But my breakfast is always the same. There's no salt in there, no nothing. It's super boring, but it makes me feel really good. People look at me the whole time and say, "Oh, are you using steroids? Are you doing?" I go, "Well, I think I actually look better now than when I was competing." Physical, and I'm the same weight, everything is the same. Well, if people accuse me, say, "Oh, you used steroids when you was fighting," well, I'll take any test with every person at home. You can come and test me any day you want, but let's put the money down. I want to put the money down because I look actually better now than when I was competing. So, hey, listen, if I was using as when I was competing, I have to be using right now. I'll take the bet. Any bet. Go up to 100,000, whatever you want to bet. Please get me. I even bring it further. If you're going to need to go for a big amount, you can follow me for 6 months. But now I'm going to talk about $500,000, right? And you can test me every single day. You can do a blood test with me, and to see if I use something. And I'll promise you, I look exactly the same as I look right now.
Okay,
take the bet.
What's the significance of sweet potatoes? Because you brought that up as one of your things that you eat for breakfast is sweet potatoes. Why? Because I know some benefits. I do eat sweet potatoes there too, but I'm just curious as to why you eat them.
It's a great energy source. I work with this guy, William Vandry. He's from Vandry Jiu-Jitsu. He's in Austin, Texas. And this guy's a very freaking smart guy. I mean, he will quote something out of a book and he says, "Oh, that was on page 12 and then at this time." I mean, like, whoa, let's go. Sometimes when he talks to you, you go like, I got to go, stop. Dumb it down. I'm not like you. You're going to have to explain it to me. He put me on this program also because John Fitch was in a lot of pain. Well, he made that pain disappear. And I said, with my knees and everything, I need something like that. So I started talking to him, and he He writes everything down. He wants to see your blood. He wants to, even the fillings in your mouth. Everything he takes down to the T, and then he starts building a program for you. And that just helped me a lot, and especially with my cartilage. He says he believes that he can build my cartilage back, which I don't think it is, because my kneecaps are bald. And if there's a little cartilage, then it might regrow, because there is something, but it is nothing. And he says, no, I truly believe I can. And I got to tell you, my pain is much better than before I started with him. You see, and it's just healthy food. And he told me about sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes, normal potatoes, put a lot of starch, and there's some bad things about. I love like the Yukon Gold potatoes, one of my favorite potatoes. I can eat it just like that. There's such a good taste if you have a good one, right? But he says sweet potatoes, they give you energy right away because of the sugars in there, but it's natural sugars, and it's just much healthier for you, less inflammation. And once he said the word less inflammation, I go with that.
They're an anti-flam, though. I mean, that's what the one thing that I learned about.
That's it. Yep.
Sweet potatoes, that they're good for taking inflammation out of the body. So
yep.
I learned that through the information that they gave for the stem cells. But then I've always enjoyed eating sweet potatoes, especially more than I did eating normal potatoes.
Yeah. I've been eating it for a long time right now, just every day. The amount of sweet potato bags that I buy at Costco is just insanity. I take 4 bags at the same time. It's like, and then all the bread, same thing. If you eat bread, take the sourdough bread. Don't eat the other bread, because all that yeast and all that stuff also causes inflammation. Every grain pretty much causes inflammation. Now, do I cut it out? No, I love a pizza here and there, and I love spaghetti, and I'll eat all that. But if I can avoid it, I avoid it. And it makes me feel good. If I have less pain, I sit down with less pain. That's everything to me, especially at this age right now.
But on that, Brad, I mean, you mentioned about seeds being really bad for you, though. I always thought that the more grains, the seeds and stuff like that was actually good for you when it comes to like whole foods.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. No,
only if you're a bird.
Listen, I have special water filters that you heard about the Berkey, and I don't know these people. This is not a plug. But that's what William Ventry told me as well. Get the Berkey water filter. That's literally a filter you can piss in on the top. You can fill it up and you can drink water at the bottom. That's how good it filters the system. Yeah. So everywhere you go, there's chlorine in the water. That chlorine over time is bad for you. Toothbrush. My toothpaste is different now. There's no more chlorine in there. Fluoride, what do you call it?
Fluoride.
Yes. Yeah, fluoride is Dutch. That's why I was thinking it there. But also, over time, it goes right away into your gums, and your gums, it absorbs in the body. Over time, it will become bad for you. So all these little things that you suddenly can't do anymore, but once you cut them out, you realize it actually works. You see? But you simply have to do it. If you are in a lot of pain, this is what I did one time. In a lot of pain, for 1 week, I only ate vegetables and potatoes. Nothing more. And I said, I'm just going to see what happened. And my pain, 80% gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any pain either because I'd kill myself.
Yeah. No, but I know. But then at least you know where it comes from. And then you can say, if you eat something and you have inflammation, okay, I should just eat this less. Not every single day. And you know what it is? If you eat it less, like you see me eating burgers. I eat burgers 4 times a week, In-N-Out burgers. And I take 2 double-doubles with fries, and people go, it's crazy. Okay, but at least it's never been frozen, that food. It's, but I still have my things that are wrong, and I still eat those. But for the rest, I'm eating clean. It's just, if you want to get rid of the pain and feel better, and mind also, you'll be amazed with simply less inflammation. Inflammation is everything. The flu is inflammation. Everything you have, pretty much every disease is a sort of inflammation. Yeah. So once you get rid of that, you're going to feel like $1,000,000. How do you feel once you get a cortisone shot? You feel really good, right? What does it do? Takes away the inflammation. You see what I mean? Only do it the natural way, because, of course, doing cortisones the whole time, that's actually stopped my career. Because when I was a kid, I took 45 pills a day, 3 times 15. Jeez. And at the time, they didn't know what the long-term effect was going to be from cortisones. Right. And I was eating those like freaking candies, And at the end, all my tendons, because my muscles were apparently stronger than my tendons, because it was attacking my tendons. And they got weaker, and it started hurting, like really bad. I would lose weight from the pain. So training was not fun for me anymore. I mean, once it would hit, and it's 3 weeks before the fight, every single workout, I will be, after workout at 45 minutes, somehow you can put the clock on it, and at 45 minutes, pain starts for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Insane pain. Now, you before a fight, can't take painkillers, can't do that thing, because otherwise you're going to have that crap again, and it slows you down. You see, so I said, okay, that was for me the reason to quit and not to fight anymore.
Well, I learned a few different things, but I actually appreciate that there, boss. I mean, it's I'm actually taking some notes here as we go through this, because each guest I try to learn a few new things. It's kind of like it's selfishly, it's just for myself here at time, because everyone wants to live as long as possible, and everyone would like to have quality of life. And I always say that when somebody dies, go to their medicine cabinet, something that you touched on earlier. Go to their medicine cabinet or look at their nightstand and count how many different pills are they taking at that point in time. And I mean, big pharmaceutical companies, they're big, and a lot of your doctors are great at always prescribing a pill. You have a headache here, take this pill. It'll take care of your headache, but it might give you blurred vision. It might give you diarrhea, but no problem. We got 2 more pills for you to take care of the blurred vision and the diarrhea. That's going to give you other stuff there right now. And I always thought, when people finally do pass along, did they die of natural causes, or did they misdiagnose themselves? Did they take too many prescription drugs? It's sad.
It's masking. It's masking. If you have a pain, your lower back pain, find out why you have the lower back pain. Most of the time, it's your posture. You walk wrong or so. No, put a pain pill in there. Just mask it. Problem is not going to go away. Right. You're going to have to change your posture. Your body is a perfect machine. It is. If something is wrong, you're doing something wrong. Most of the time, and again, it's breathing as well, because everybody breathes wrong. It starts with that. But every little injury that you have, inflammation here. Why is the inflammation there? Did you hit it? Did you hurt it? Maybe you do something, you work a lot on the computer? How many people have that carpal tunnel from being on a computer? I mean, you see what I mean? But take a pill. No, you're going to have to change that habit, because otherwise it will never go away. You're just masking it. And now you're going to have an addiction. And now it's all the time. Fix the problem. That's what they should do. But the doc's not going to tell you that, because then they can't sell you anything. Right?
I mean, boss, when's the last time that you and I have actually seen each other? Because I remember, I'm trying to think of the network you were working with, because you've worked with so many networks, doing play-by-play, color commentating, and doing different results of fight shows and things of that nature. I think that's what
Access TV. I think so too.
Saw you was one of those.
Access
companies.
TV, yeah. And maybe at an inauguration from some fighter, maybe. At the UFC Hall of Fame, maybe was there also?
Yeah, like I say, I've only ever been to 2 of those, and that was for either myself or for Don Frye. Otherwise, I don't. Are you still a big fight fan? Do you follow UFC at all, or do you?
I do. Like last weekend was great. By the way, when you see them getting tired, look at the fighters who are getting tired. What are they doing? Chest breathing. They're chest breathing. Yeah. Wrong breathing. I can change that immediately by simply using the device. But you see, those things I'm looking now at, because it's my job. You start picking out, he breathes wrong, she breathes wrong, his breathes wrong. So but I enjoy it. I really enjoy it, because, in the early days, you were exceptional if you had stamina. And I realized that, thankfully, very fast, and that's why my career went well, because I already did cross-training right away from the beginning. Because a lot of people, they would separate everything. One day they do striking, then they do wrestling, and then they do ground fighting. I go, no, why you're getting tired is the combination. I always tell people, if you do 50 setups, and now you go try to run on a treadmill, it's going to be very hard. And now I know why, because all these muscles get tight, you can't breathe using your core. You see now, and that's the same with punching and kicking. Punching and kicking is all pushing. Once you're on the ground, it's all pulling. So they're 2 completely different muscles. So if you train them simultaneously, you will have way better effect. And that's when you get tired. And suddenly, I had these fights in Japan for 30 minutes. So I needed to be in shape. 30 minutes straight fight, no breaks. That was welcome to Japan, right? And I found this out on the day of the fight. How funny was, first I found out this guy walks up to me, and there was no weigh-in. And I thought it was odd. And this guy at the day of the fight, because I'm fighting a Japanese guy, I thought, you know what? The Japanese are known to be honest people, so he will be on weight. Wait a minute. What was the weight? That's what I was thinking. Why? But they know my weight. So no weigh-in. So the next day, this tall guy walks up to me, 6'3", and he says, hey, Mr. Masud. I say, hey, how are you doing? Nice meeting you. I say, oh, you're the promoter. And he goes, no, I'm fighting you tonight. I say, you're fighting me? Yeah. I go, what's your weight? And I remember he was 28 pounds heavier than I was. And I go, oh, that's weird. And I look at my manager, and then the promoter walks up. I say, oh, you're the promoter? Yeah. I say, he's 28 pounds heavier. You say, oh, no, Mr. Rutten, there's no weight classes. It's open weight. Everybody fights each other. I go, oh, great. So I tried to act myself out of it. And then I asked him, okay, how many rounds are we fighting? Because I thought we'd go like 5 rounds in 3 minutes. And he goes, 1 round. And I go, oh, nice. I was all happy. How many minutes? And he goes, 30. I go, oh, yeah, great. I was completely bluffing because it was crazy. But because of that, I just needed to work out really freaking hard. So my stamina was always good. I lost a fight in Holland one time because of stamina. And that, the fatigue makes cowards out of men. That was literally, you can't defend yourself. And I go, okay, this will never happen to me again. You see, that's why I never thought it was bad to lose. Have you ever been down after a loss? I never. I was always, okay, apparently I need to work harder because I lost the fight. That's how I always brought it to my attention. But, a lot of people are destroyed for a week and are crying. I go, dude, learn from it. Get better, better technique.
I totally agree with you that if a loss is really not a loss, as long as you learn something from it, because there are a lot of people that they just beat themselves up over it, and it just constantly is on their mind as to why did they lose, and it's just a poor element that they have. But as long as you can learn something from it, but I have had one of those matches, just like you said, to where my cardiovascular was gone, and I realized now I'm in deep water.
Yep.
And I got nothing left in the tank to give, and I'm thinking I'm about to lose a match because this guy can't carry my jock strap.
Yeah.
But he has just enough left in the tank that's going to outlast me here, and it's sad. I should have finished him up a lot earlier too, but I carried him along too long, and now I'm going to lose to him. That was one of those sad matches to have.
Yeah, and you know what? The sad thing now also with the weight cutting, a lot of the weight cutting comes from losing into a fight because they always blame it on, they're not blaming it on themselves. They blame it on the fact that his opponent cut more weight and he was heavier the day of the fight. Dude, he's 4 pounds heavier than you. What is that going to do? Is that really so much? I'm not talking about heavyweight being 220 and fighting a guy like Ngannou. That's a big difference, right? But I mean, come on, man. Okay, let's say 10 pounds. What is 10 pounds going to do? Really do? Right. Why don't you get better shape, get better technique, and fight in your own weight class? Because most of the time when they go down, they're even weaker because now they don't give the body what it deserves. The number 2 priority, water. What? 98% water. What is it? 96. A really high percentage, right? I don't know what it is exactly, but maybe it's really bad to cut the water out of you.
But there's, I'll say that coming from a wrestling background, there are certain universities that they are notorious for just really hard cutting of weight, to where, the guy should probably be, more like a 150 pounder, but he's going to be wrestled at the 125 pound weight class because he knows he's going to simply bring out the rest of that water. I've actually been to weigh-ins before where the couple coaches, they got the fingertips sticking out there just holding on their athlete because he's so weak and he's blacking out standing on the scales, and just that fingertip on there is just keeping him just stable enough to get off that scale, then to put water right back into it. So I'm a big believer that you shouldn't do crazy weight reduction. Again, going back to the United States, we could learn to tighten up the belt a whole lot more inside the United States altogether.
Yeah.
Here, getting back to something you were talking about before, but training wise, what do you think about when it comes to like striking? Because to me, grappling, you could go 100% grappling And as long as you know that, I was always big about when I was running classes at my training facility of having no injuries. But it's because I was always there barking orders and saying that, when you've got position on somebody, slowly apply pressure, knowing that give this person an opportunity to tap out.
Yep.
And if they don't tap out, let it go. You got them.
Yep.
You could break an elbow. You could really hurt them really bad. But I always go back to, you need workout partners.
Yep.
Okay. Don't break your toys, because then you have no toys to work with, because you still need bodies and shapes of all different types of athletes. Because I always say that 150 pounds could come in all shapes and sizes. It could be short and thick, like a little fire hydrant. It could be tall and skinny, like a pole. And most people fall somewhere in between. Some people have necks. Some people have these tree stumps.
Yep.
You can't choke them because there's no neck to even go after. But when it comes to striking, what is your feeling about headgear and allowing athletes then to still bang the head?
Yeah, I think it's stupid. Headgear will still have the impact. It also makes your vision bad. Your peripheral is gone. I think it's really dangerous. I think this is a fun part. I always do this at seminars. Somebody gives me a left hook and they do this. This is the defense. Put their hand against their head. And then I stop the class. I say, okay, guys, let me visualize this. I take this focus mitt. I'm going to tape it to my head. And you're going to hit me with a left hook. What do you think is going to happen? You think you can knock me out? And everybody starts laughing. And they go, yeah. I go, well, the joke is on you, because I see all you guys do this. Once you make your hand one with your head, it'll go straight through. Now, luckily for us, is that if somebody gives me a left hook and I bring my hand up, he automatically takes the power off, because he thinks it's not as effective. But if he would be like what I used to do in fighting, I just hit as hard as I can on your defense. Right. I kick as hard as I can on your defense. It goes straight through. So never make yourself you wouldn't block a knee like this, right? You block him here. You know how I block knees? I put my hands on their knees. So I don't even let them take off. Simple, right? It's like punching somebody, you stop the punch here. There's no power in there. It's easy to stop. Well, you can do that with knees as well. And especially in MMA, because if they jump guard, you're going to be in trouble. Having the hands on the knees, you can push them to the side to make sure they don't jump guard. Oh, and then striking, it's about sparring partners. Every time when I would get injured in a striking sparring session, it will be against a person who was a beginner or something. So maybe one of my friends didn't show up, like Amir Perez was really good, Pedro Hizo, Marco who was already an animal. Marco doesn't know his own power, and you got to really watch out, because he freaking goes, His wife would call me sometimes and be angry at me because his face was scratched. I said, do you have any idea what your husband does to me? I mean, I'm defending myself here. But I had sparring partners, and when I'm sparring, people are on the side who are watching, they go like, oh, we never want to spar with you. But we got zero injuries, because we know exactly where to stop. I won't try to knock you out to the head, but to the body I will. And you better do it to me as well. The legs, okay, you want to go hard, but not too hard, because you don't want to get injured into a fight, And then the head, it's just, once I see there's a clear punch, I just take the power off, And I don't really make it. So I never had an injury training with my training partners. It's always when somebody doesn't show up, and then I take a student of something. Yeah. And then, they move weird, and you kick an elbow, and then the instep, and it's always injuries because of that reason.
Someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
That's it. It's awkward. It's different than you are. That's why I say always in every aspect of fighting, if you are different, you're going to win. You're going to be successful. Like everybody knows how to land a cross, right? But how to throw a cross. But to land it, since it's one simple punch, now you're going to have to figure a way out. Now, if your setup for a cross is a setup that he's never seen before, you're going to be successful. So be creative. Be like a freaking Sakuraba. The double judo chop what he did, And people go, what is that? That was not doing anything. That was just a distraction for his punch or for a knee bar or for something, you see? That's being creative. That's doing things different than others. And once you start being different than others, because they don't know. If you have a setup, if you train with, let's say, a 5th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. Now, these guys, of course, they see things coming really good. But if I would be at their level, and I have a setup to a triangle choke, for instance, that they never saw, I'm going to catch him with it. Now, I will catch him only once, because after that, he knows it will never catch him again. But in a fight, that means you just won the fight. Right. You see? So that's what I say. It's with striking. It's with submissions. Find a setup that they don't know. And once you can do that, you're going to be victorious.
Yep. Just to go back on what you were talking about on the headgear, I'm a big advocator that wearing protective gear so that you don't get hurt, so your training partners don't get hurt. And I always say that you have to know, again, that word moderation. You can't go 100% in a practice, because you're either going to hurt your athletes or your athletes are going to hurt you in the process. And I go, headgear is one of those things that you put on that headgear, sure, they may not cut you, they may not beat up your ears or things of that nature, but that gray matter, each time that you hit them, it's going to be sloshed around, and now you're going to have people that Alzheimer's or early onset of dementia, things of that nature, because that gray matter is not meant to be sloshed around like that, because sooner or later it's going to turn it into pudding.
Yeah, 100%. And also, no, I'm sorry, keep going. No, what I want to say is, if you have a thick headgear, you just, whatever thickness that is, you give your opponent that more reach. Think about it. Because if my headgear is here and he starts hitting my forehead, well, his punch just became this much longer. So now if I'm using to stay just outside you know how many contact lenses I lost during training? There's a lot, because if they hit me, I try to stay just outside the distance. And sometimes they would always stick on their gloves, because my eye will be open and they pull the contact off. I had this at least 10 times happening. Now, if you used to that distance, or to a certain distance with a headgear, and then suddenly the headgear is off, now your whole timing is off. We're talking inches. A really good striker who's just outside the reach of his opponent, if he needs to know what the reach of his opponent is. That's why most of the time in the beginning of the fight, when I was fighting, I had my hands low, because I'm pretty sure if I have my hands here, they're going to hit my head. And the first punch, I let him miss here. And every time I let him come a little closer. And now I found this reach. Now I'm just outside this reach. And that's when I start countering my punches. But if you fight a guy like John Jones, who has an 86 reach, and you never sparred a guy with that reach, and you don't play this game that I just do, you're going to get knocked out immediately, right, because you're simply not used to it. So that's why the thicker the headgear is, the more reach you give your opponent. If they hit, of course, the forehead, because that's how thick it is.
Yeah, again, I like the sharing of the knowledge of how to trade safely, because I think there's a lot of athletes that they don't understand this. I think there's a lot of coaches who never did it, and they're trying to tell you how to do it. And it's better to actually speak to someone who actually has done it. Yep. And they understand what they might have done wrong themselves, and how they learned from their own mistakes, and how they have made things better for themselves in the process. I always tell people like myself, I was a one-trick pony. I was not a striker. But I always said that you have to be within arm's reach to punch me. You have to be in legs range to kick, knee, or elbow. And I was always good about just staying just outside that range, to where now, as I bait you to go for things, I simply watch how do most people train. They throw out, they retract right back on it, and as they retract right back in, that's when I move in for the clinch, the takedown, or jamming them up against the cage wall. Because the moment that they clinch, and I always say that, don't take my words, don't take Dan Severn's words for it. I go, watch all these combat sports. Watch boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate, kung fu. They all have a referee. And each time that these guys start to go out there and throw their spinning back kicks or spinning back fists or punches, they all get entangled somehow into a clinch.
Yep.
And that striped shirt individual comes out there and goes, no, separate up there, fellas or ladies. We don't have none of this huggy, squeezy type of stuff taking place. We're here to watch people punch, kick, knee, or elbow. And I always tell people that I was just good about getting those clinches, takedowns, or jam up that cage wall, because I neutralized 90+% of their arsenal.
And they should listen to you. You say, don't take my words for it, but if you look at your record, you've been very successful with it, you know. That's how I got better in everything I do. I just steal from others. Mike Tyson,
Yes.
why does he hit so hard? He has an open stance. That's why he can generate more power. Oh, but you're only an open target here. Yeah, but that's the only downside. Plus, all the fighters that I know who stand like that, nobody ever went down to the body. Well, if I'm so easy to hit to the body, why don't you drop me to the body? You see what I mean? But we all are, in our minds, we are all programmed to listen to a certain person and to automatically believe that. That's what you see now also going on in politics, so to say. But look, I was one time teaching a seminar, and I was talking about my stance, and there was a famous fighter was sitting there. And he said, boss, from now on, I'm going to fight like you. Unbelievable. He says, but one thing. He says, if I bring my, because I don't rotate my punch. I keep it straight. And if it comes naturally, I let it come naturally. But if I tell people to twist their hands, they start doing it here already. That's telegraphing. To me, if I see your elbow move, some punch is coming. This will have a way better penetrating. And this simply comes from karate because it penetrates easier. If you have a target here and the elbow is up, you ricochet to the side already if you hit it. See what I mean? But if you keep your elbow low, it goes straight through. So it's better penetration. And if it comes naturally again, do it. So he said, okay, everything I believe, he says one thing. Look, this is my hand. And if I twist my hand, look, I'm covered. And I go, and I do this. I say, you mean like this? And he goes, shit. Because now my hand is straight and I still have my jaw covered. You see what I mean? But because somebody told him that, he automatically assumed that is the only way to bring the shoulder up. While I can simply twist my hand and do exactly the same thing. You see, so I always thought outside the box. The thing with me is also I didn't have coaches. You know, I had a coach for general work and for striking I had coaches, but I didn't have coaches for submissions. And I just was a little different. That's why I was effective, because I was, again, different than other people. Nobody told me to do it a certain way, just like everybody does it. I thought, hey, maybe if I do it like this, it's maybe more effective. And what do you know? Suddenly it works. You see, again, it's just being different.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things I like about when it comes to rolling. You know, what if you go through all your training type exercise at a normal workout, then you get to point that you're doing some live randori or something, whatever you want to call it. I just say it's just live goals, but it's kind of like going. I would say that you're doing 100% submission grappling, but then you're doing simulated striking, so that you might be grapped around. All of a sudden, you go up into like a hammer fist.
Yep.
But I always try to tell my guys, verbalize it.
Yep.
But then go through the mechanical so that you're incorporating as many of the senses as possible, and you get used to, say, as your grab rolls a hammer fist, and you go up there and you go to touch it, the guy realizes, he just hammer fist your face right there, but he knows that you got to go back to work tomorrow.
Yep.
He's being kind to you right now, and that was the hard part, because some of the athletes did not understand percentages whatsoever.
No, zero. And by the way, rolling, that's the thing that I miss the most, pretty much. Because the submission game is one of those games that you will never master. There's always something. Every workout, you go like, oh man, that was cool. I never realized it. It's a little thing, but it's always, right? Always something new pops up. And that's what I loved about submission. You can never master it. Because it's endless, the combinations, and then the setups and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, unfortunately, with my knees, I can do it for one training, and then the next 5 days, I'm going to be in some serious pain. So I decided not to do that anymore.
Oh, here, I'll recommend something to you. Have you ever heard of DMSO?
No.
Well, just write those initials down, DMSO, because it'd be something that you want. Again, it's a phenomenal anti-flam.
DMSO.
DMSO, yep. I first learned about it at the Olympic Training Center back in 1976.
All right.
Colorado Springs. So, and if a trainer's going to recommend it, I mean, obviously they know all the stuff that you cannot put into your body, because they don't want you testing positive on any. If you have to be, blood tests, stuff like that have to come in. But DMSO, it's a great anti-flam.
Perfect.
So just there. At least I was able to offer you up something to do there for you there, boss.
Hey, you see
you'll like it there too. Like I said, it will do the body good, and you'll be really impressed with with what you're doing. I mean, it's I mean, you've already blown me away with a couple of the inventions that you've come up with. But let's just delve into a different area of your life, like the movies.
Bill.
When did you first get involved in movies, and what was your very first movie?
One of the very first movies. First, I had a TV show. It was 18 Wheels of Justice, and
18 Wheels of Justice.
Yeah.
Well, big hit.
You remember the guy from the Coca-Cola Light Break who was taking his shirt off? You remember that all the way back? All the
From
women.
the what?
Coca-Cola Light Break. There was a Coca-Cola commercial. Was the guy who took off his shirt and he would drink a Coke. And all the women in the office, they would know he would do it and they would look at him. Now that guy became very famous, and then he got his own TV show, 18 Wheels of Justice. And I was a bank robber in that movie, in that TV show. And they put a wig on me and glasses, as my disguise as the bank robber. And my scene, I could dream my scene. I learned so hard, I memorized everything. I thought I was going to be okay. So, but it was a Thursday. And on Friday, it was going to be a long weekend. Everybody wanted to go home. And they're going to have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, And I was the last scene of the night. So now the cameras are in my faces. And I started sweating, and the wig starts sliding off. The glasses start sliding off because I start sweating. And they go, and action. And I go, what's my line? I immediately forgot what I needed to say. So I mess it up. And the fourth time I mess it up, I hear the crew going, oh, like this. And I turned around and I go, give me a break here. I'm freaking nervous as shit. This is not helping. Please. And then everybody started laughing. And then my ice was broke. And what do you know? The next scene I nailed right away. Yeah. But that was just to show you that it's really easy to do in front of a mirror and to memorize your lines. But once they put two cameras in your face and everything, the pressure is on, you're like, whoa, what do I say? You see, it's like fighting. The first fight I had, I didn't know what I was doing. I know I won, but I mean, it wasn't pretty. I was just hitting him.
You got those guys in the workout room who win their national championship or world championship every day in the workout room.
Yep.
But you put them in front of the crowd, they piss their fans.
Yep. And that's the same with acting. So then I already was taking acting classes. Right away when I came to America, I started taking acting classes because I knew eventually I wanted to do something like that. So then I had what was it? Oh, I did The Eliminator. The Eliminator was my first starring movie. And where, this has been done before, people are on an island, rich people come in and they're going to hunt these people down, right? I mean, it is what it is. But I had a lot of fun doing that movie. Then I made a short comedy, The Kingdom of Ultimate Power. You can find this on YouTube, The Kingdom of Ultimate Power.
We want to?
And I want...
do we want to find it on YouTube?
Yeah, you will find it. You'll find it.
No, do we want to?
Oh, no, you want to. This is good. This movie actually got me in Here Comes the Boom because we won first prize at the film festival.
Yeah.
And I was the lead in that. So then when the movie Here Comes the Boom came around, Sony Studios, because Kevin, he's a good buddy of mine, he said, I want Bas for that part. And they said, no, because he's not an actor, we cannot take the risk. This is a $60 million movie. And he showed him the movie that I did, the comedy, Kingdom of Ultimate Power. And that was it. That was the deciding factor. They said, okay, he can do it. You see? But so I was very fortunate to be around people like a Kevin James, who gave me just a chance. And Holt McCallany, he's the lead actor from Mindhunter on Netflix.
Yeah, Holt's a great guy.
Holt is a great guy,
Holt, yeah.
He also, I worked with him on a TV show in Vancouver, and then I was his fight choreographer. And then he said, no, let Bas do the scene one time. And then I did the scene, and everybody go, whoa, and suddenly I had a part. You see, so every time I'm lucky with guys who give me a chance, and then thankfully I do it the correct way at that moment, and I was in it. That was what happened with Here Comes the Boom as well. I did a few episodes on King of Queens. Then after I did Here Comes the Boom, he had this new show, Kevin Can Wait. I did like 21 episodes on that, and that was a great one because it's comedy. And it was a sitcom. And I was telling Tony also, it's like, it's almost like I was fighting again. Because during the week you rehearse, you do everything, and then Friday you film in front of a live audience. So now the pressure is on because you can't mess up. But if you mess up and you do it a funny way, people start laughing. Like the first show I did for them, I came up and they introduced you before, and I had like 10 people applauding. You know, there's 400 people there. Like 10 people clapping, oh, it's a Masud, whatever. And then after, and I messed up a few times, but I had a great way of dealing with it and make it funny, boom, boom, boom. And afterwards, when they introduced me at the end to farewell, thinking people went up, why? You know, so I went from having 10 people, suddenly everybody started. I go, whoa, this is like fighting. It's like immediately reaction from the audience, you know. It was super cool. You have that little nerve again that you have with fighting also, you know. You need that to be on your toes. So, yeah, I really enjoyed doing that, doing those episodes. And then after that, unfortunately, there's not been a lot. There's been talks. I was almost going to do a really good movie, badass guy, not bad guy, a number 2 of a movie. And I can't say what it is, but because it's still on. But that was just when COVID hit, and otherwise I would have done that movie. So hopefully now, because he's filming another movie now, this guy, it's going to come back, and I can do that, because then I had a comedy part, and I want to have a badass part as well.
How'd you meet Kevin James?
I met Kevin all the way back in '97, because he and Joe Rogan actually used to watch me fight Pancras from pay-per-view. Yeah. So when he found out that I was in May, I arrived in '97. I arrived in LA. That was what the first season he had the King of Queens. He when I met him, he found out I was there, so his management called me and he wanted to train with me. And then I met him at his 1-bedroom apartment that he was sharing with his brother. You know, this is all the way back to first season, and we just immediately became friends. And he's still a very close friend of mine. I mean, I've known him since '97 now. So within 3 months, I was in America. And he's still the same guy. Yeah. He never changed, never became better than other people. It's so amazing to be that person in a 1-bedroom apartment, and now he's Kevin, right. And he didn't change a bit. He's a really good dude.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, they've actually showed him, I think, several times actually in attendance at some of the UFC shows in the past.
Yeah. No, he loves fighting also, you know. He's a big fight fan. And he's actually an incredible athlete as well. He hates it when I say this, but you saw Here Comes the Boom, and you see him on the Volksmith, that's all him. Like, there was a fun part, because we went to the screening, and there was this woman, a writer, was sitting next to me. And when at the very end, Krzysztof Szynski has him in an armbar, and he lifts him up, he slams him down, and then he hits him, and the fight is over. And this woman started, she goes, yeah, right. That's what she said. I go, oh, this is funny that you say that. I think it's on the Blu-ray. She says, what? I say, because he knew this was going to happen. So what happened, all the extras were there. And he says, hey, guys, we're going to bring a crane in. I say, come here first, Krzysztof. He says, put me in an armbar. And he goes literally like this. Whoop, boom, whoop, boom, whoop, boom.
Well, he's a power lifter,
and he says, okay, everybody saw that? Yeah, okay, bring in the crane. Now you know that I can do it for real. Everybody was like, oh, what did he just do? Krzysztof, 220 pounds. Just lifted it up like it was nothing.
James is a power lifter, right?
He used to be a wrestler. He's a strong guy, and his technique is really good. I remember when I was teaching him the first time, my wife said, and how is he? I go, he's a big guy, but boy, he listens to instructions immediately. I say, oh, turn a little bit more in and do this. He will do that immediately. He's a really good golf player, very good hand-eye coordination. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where do you come up with all the time in a day to do all these different things there, boss. I mean, it's pretty incredible, because we're just starting to just scratch the surface of a couple of things that you've done between movies, between being an athlete, with your breathing apparatus, your striking apparatus. Let's talk about Bas Rutten, the author. When did you write your very first book? And was it a training manual? Was that what your first one was?
Yeah, it was not a real book, you know, because I don't know if I will be good with that. I will be good if somebody is a ghostwriter and I tell them everything. They want to do it with my life now, since I had such a crazy life. But this was an instructional. It's the biggest instructional book in the world. It has, I believe, 6,800 pictures, two volumes, volume 1 and 2. The Bas Rutten's Big Book of Combat, and I put a lot of time in that in order to make it perfect, you know, because this is the worst thing. So I edit the whole book, right? Everything is done. Took me 3 weeks in order to do that. Long hours a day to make everything perfect. I sent it to the guy, and the guy started editing it, because then sometimes it would fit better on a page. Took the whole thing. So now you see me in sitting side mount, and in the next picture you see me already finishing an armbar. Dude, I lost it. I go, no, I had to go again for like a week, put everything back. I said, you touch this thing one more time? Unbelievable. People are so stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask me first if that's a good idea? I mean, I'm the author, right? I'm showing the techniques. It was insanity. So, yeah, that took a long time to make that. So that was it. And I did a couple of these books. I did one in France. I did one in Holland. Yeah, and this one's being the biggest.
What other sitcoms did you do with James?
Which one?
Yeah, what sitcoms did you do with him?
King of Queens and then the Kevin Can Wait. Kevin Can Wait was the second sitcom he did on also CBS. I had a part as the crazy neighbor from Holland. Rutger was my name. And I did 3 episodes in the first season.
That was a stretch, huh?
That was a big stretch for me. I had to really get into character there.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And then apparently people at home, because when they test every character, and I had really high testing results apparently, and they wanted me back, and suddenly I was in there. Dude, if that would have gone to the 3rd season, I would have been a series regular.
Yeah.
And then it becomes really interesting, because once the 3rd season comes, they say it goes at least 5 or 6, and then the money is going to be there as well.
Right.
So, but unfortunately, the show got canceled because I don't know why, but that was a hard one for me, hard pill to swallow, because that's my dream job, to make people laugh and to get paid doing it. I mean, it's like the best thing on the planet, right? And the hours are great. It's not like 14 hours on the set. I mean, I was talking about it before. I was talking to Holt for the movie, for that TV show that he did, Mindhunter, on Netflix. And I said, how's it going over there? And I was doing the sitcom. And he goes, oh man, I'm at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the makeup chair, 14-hour days, 6 days a week. Sundays I'm off, but Sundays I just sleep the whole day because I'm really tired. And he's telling all these things. And he goes to me, and how's yours? I go, same as you, dude. I mean, Monday we have a table read. And he goes, and then I go, no, that's like 30 minutes. Yeah, but then I said, we go home. and Tuesday, I said, 2 days, that's at least like 2-3 hours. You're blocking it. And he goes, are you serious? The thing is with a sitcom that you need to know where you have to deliver the lines, so that you map everything through it. And that stays the same, but the jokes change the whole time, because they will have it like a small audience kind of who are testing it while you're doing it. And if the laughs aren't that big, they rewrite the joke. The storyline will be the same, but they rewrite the joke. So you just need to be on the tip of your toes, because on Thursday, if you think this is it, on Friday, this could be a lot of things could be changed, and you're going to have to do that. So you have to make sure that you know the lines. That's important. But the hours are much better than doing movies.
Yeah, I got lucky. I worked for Michael Mann 3 times.
Ooh.
It was great.
It's unbelievable, that guy.
Public Enemies, Public Enemies gave me one line, and Ray says, were you upset? He gave you one line? No, he gave me what he thought I could handle.
But dude, in the Michael Mann movie, and I loved it. The part was great. You stood out. That is.
He's great to work with, man.
I believe it. I believe it. His movies are great. I mean, I always liked them.
Yeah, he's amazing. Then, Ruhei Kenmura did the Godzilla movie. We had a lot of fun doing that.
I remember you were telling me you were in Japan for like a couple of months, right?
Yeah, 3 months,
Jeez.
Yeah, he's a great director and writer also, Had a lot of fun with him.
It's, I never understood, you have these directors who are complete douchebags and who scream at the talent. I go like, dude, you don't want to put pressure on them. I mean, they're going to perform less. We had the guys on the sitcom. I mean, it's such a pleasure to work with these guys.
Yeah.
If you do something wrong, they just take you to the side and they explain to you. They will never do anything in public. It's really nice. It's really relaxed. But then again, it's Kevin, of course, picking the right people, because bad people, they don't last with him.
No. Shit, I did that movie, Henry's Crime, with James Caan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and after the scene, we're all getting lunch, and he says, let me give you my phone number, and you call me, and he says, gets his assistant, give me a, no, you take my phone number, because I didn't think he would answer the phone,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I said, Nah, you take my phone. You know, that's how it looked. And they're like, no.
But you got it?
No.
Oh, come on. And I was
I
saying,
screwed up.
send it to me.
Yeah. I didn't realize what I did until after it was over. I go, I just dissed James Caan.
Yeah, no, those things you should always, especially if they offer it, you should do.
Yeah.
And you know, you're you. You're not going to call this guy every day or text him, hey, man, what's up? What did you think of the fights? You know,
Right.
like you have these guys, sometimes you give somebody a number, and then they keep texting you, you know? And then what you start doing, first of all, you start reacting very late because otherwise, you know, they will keep constantly going.
Right.
I go, man, come on. Check that. Oh, what, you know, this is a thing. If you're texting me, something I don't like is put everything in one text. I don't need, hey, boss. Cling, how you doing? Send. Hey, this is me. Come. Question for you. Send. And I got like 8 texts coming, and I go, dude, put that in one text. And now I'm sitting somewhere, like for instance here, and if it's on, it goes ping, ping, or it goes, bzz, but it's still, you know, it's there. You know, it's like it's super annoying. Yeah, but that's how people write because they write like they're speaking. I say, okay, so if I say to you, hey, how are you doing? This is boss. I don't wait for him to answer me first. I'm doing great. Oh, that's talking.
Yeah,
you know, you wait for a response, you come back. So put everything in one text. So if you at home, you text me, don't do that. And I know some friends of mine are going to send me 20 texts now. I know that.
Well, again, the cell phone has changed our world as well. When you look at, I always tell people, you go to any shopping mall and do a quick 360, try to find the one person that does not have that in the palm of their hand.
Oh, everybody.
I mean, it's just they all have it in there. I mean, I always feel sorry for that cell phone because there'll be a lady that will walk through there that's wearing skin tight pants.
Yeah.
And she's already exceeding the tensile strength of the pure fabric of the pants. And yet she slides that cell phone in that back pocket. I'm thinking that's $1,000 computer that's about to be crushed.
Yeah.
But
how do you get that thing out there in an emergency?
it's people, or they walk into a fountain or something. You remember that girl? And then she tried to sue these people because they're making fun of her. And I go, dude, be off your stupid phone. Listen, last year,
situational awareness.
That's just completely gone. It's dangerous, and especially on the street as a woman by yourself.
Yeah,
you know you shouldn't do that, especially late at night. And someone put that freaking thing, keep the keys in your hands, like all this kind of stuff. You know, it's important that you stay away from it. So last year, what I did they call it the Exodus. It's a thing in where you for 3 months. It's like Lent on steroids, meaning you can have only 3 meals a day. 2 days a week are fasting days. No sweets, no candy, no nothing. In your coffee, no sugars, no nothing. You can't watch TV. You can't go on your computer or on your phone. Only for your job.
Dan Severn would go into withdrawals on any of those.
Good.
No. I take offense to that. The only time I'm on my phone is usually for work related.
Yeah, but
very rarely to simply just to shoot the shit about nothing.
But you work 24 hours a day, and no sweets in your coffee. Yeah,
but you know what it is? Cold showers. You have to work out every day. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But after 3 months, I think I canceled my social media 80%.
Yeah.
I realized all the time that normally I'm watching a TV show, whatever I'm doing, I'm reading a book now. Yeah. Now I'm actually learning things, you know. It depends on what book you read, of course. But you see, I go like, wow, it really changed me. And then I started just apply those rules. So I have more free time. So the more you do, it's really weird. The more you do, like I wake up in the morning around 5:30. And the first 2.5 hours is meditation, stretching. It's other things that I'm doing. It's only for me. And most of the time before 9 o'clock, I already went to the gym when I come home. So and then at 9 o'clock, I'm going to walk the dog. Before that, I already ate. I went to the gym. I did my stretching. I did everything. I read what I need. I memorized things in order to keep my mind, because we're getting older. We need to keep it intact, you know. But all these things, and I do it. They say, so when don't you do it? I said, well, I think for the last 7 years, there's not one day that I don't do it. I just build a habit again, and I just do the same thing over and over again because it makes me feel good. And now I do so much, and I have way more time. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah. So, but it's
again, people are creatures of their habits.
Yep.
And again, if you want to be a productive person, what you just stated earlier, everybody's got 24 hours in the day. how much of their day are they simply just piddling away doing nothing? Or again, social media type stuff, I can't stand it, mostly because I can't figure a lot of the stuff out in the first place. But to me, it's just part of a business tool I use it for. Those people that I really need to get in contact with, I'm speaking to them. But otherwise, I don't want to turn on my cell phone most of the time. But it's there because I know that most people, that's the only way they know how to communicate with you.
Yep. Yeah, no, 100%. And my phone is also off at night. You know, I don't leave my phone on. Why? Somebody can disturb me in my sleep. That's the most important thing that we need, right? So let's just simply turn it off. I have it in a special mode that my people know how to contact me. There's a special way to do it. Then it will still off. So if something happens, bad. But I say, well, what if somebody dies? I go, he's dead. It's not going to change anything. Why do I need to know it now? And you know, if I know it now and I can't go to sleep anymore, then the next day I can deal with it less because I didn't sleep. But if I wake up after a good night's sleep and then a death hits you in the family, at least you can deal with it better because you're going to be emotional. You see, so all these things it's so stupid to do, but once you realize it and you stop doing it, you go like, oh man, why didn't I do this like 10 years ago or 15 years ago?
My problem is I forget to turn the phone back on.
Oh, you just said it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Put an alarm in there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you turn the phone on.
Yeah.
If you turn only the Wi-Fi off, that's what I mean, or the cell reception, you can do that. What is it called? Plane mode, right? Do that.
Yeah.
You know, and then put an alarm out and say, hey, turn it on. Regular alarm. But
basically what I'll do is I'll simply I kill the volume.
Yeah.
So I like to, there's times that I'll just wake up in the middle of the night and I wonder what time it is, so I like to know that the cell phones. I'll go there just to see, well, what time is it? You know, because I don't have the normal clock radio sitting over aside anymore. But that way, you know, as I go, I could sleep for another couple hours, or I'll be getting up here in the next 45 minutes. Sometimes it's hard to get shut back down again, so I might just get up.
Yeah, but the thing with the phone is, for instance, also, like, for instance, with me, if I wake up and I do like a 30-minute meditation thing, if I would look on my phone and I look at one text message, my meditation will be gone. Because with my ADHD, my head is there. Yeah. So I just taught myself to not read anything on your phone before you do the meditation, right? Because otherwise you're going to be distracted. And those things you simply have to learn. And with meditation,
explain that when you say that you meditate, because different people may not quite understand when you say that you meditate. Explain a little bit more. What do you do? What do you do for meditation?
I go over situations that, for instance, have an interview. And then I go over the questions that might come, and questions that maybe I don't want to answer, but if they come, how do I answer them? And I just visualize everything you did. What I also do is, like, I go back in the day before. What did I do wrong the day before? You know, how I can stop doing that from happening again? What did I do right? Can I make this better the next time? Yeah, there's always room for improvement. But just thinking about those kind of things puts you in the right mindset, because now if they appear again, you're going to be ready for it because you just visualize it, you know, and then it's clearing everything out. You cannot do anything else, only on those situations. And meditating for me, trying to think of nothing, it's a nightmare. I can't, because my mind is way too crazy. Yeah. I'm flying all over the place. But once I do that, like for instance, when I was competing in Japan, you know, it's very hard to sleep because nighttime is daytime. If you come from Holland, well, 12 o'clock at night is 2 o'clock in the afternoon for you. Right. So all night you're going to be awake because it's daytime for you. And then I couldn't sleep, and you don't want to take sleeping pills because they're going to might affect you with fighting. So I go like, how do I go? And people always say, don't go to the fight because it gets your nerves. I found out that going to the fight and actually going over what you can do would put me to sleep. And that's what I started doing. I start visualizing the fight. So he throws across, I slip. I go whatever combination I did, and I start slowly but surely visualizing. Always me, of course, winning it, never getting hit, because otherwise I might not be so happy. But, you know, do that, visualize that, and suddenly I just fall asleep. I go, wow, it actually works. I did this with pain as well. If you have pain, everybody says, oh, think about something else. No, go to the pain. That's what I figured out. That helps way better. Oh, it hurts. Whoop. I go with my whole mind right away to the pain where it hurts. And then it takes the pain away. It's really weird. You just embrace it somehow. Yeah. And then the body says, it's okay. And once it works with the pain, I'll do it with everything. Because everything works the same. You know, it's just doing it. Like I stopped, like I have this rubber band, right? That's how I stopped swearing.
Yeah.
You know, when I said we'll swear, okay, now breaks. But I would go back a few times, and it starts hurting.
Barbed wire.
That's it. But yeah, go really hard. But you see what I mean? And then I realized, wait a minute, if I can do this with that, I should be able to do this with everything. Now if I get angry in traffic, you know, I want to do something, go think, and somehow it works. Yeah. And I calm down because it's like you take attention to something else. It works perfect. Try it out.
What happened to your cooking show called Grandma's Kitchen?
I should do that, right?
Yeah.
Grandma's Kitchen?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. I'm actually a culinary chef. I went 4 years to culinary school, the French cuisine, when I was younger, because I wanted to be chef. That was my original profession. And then I had a little fallout with a chef, cook somewhere. And it went wrong. There's a funny story, by the way. In Holland, a chef is called a KOK, cock. So check this out. So we just arrived in America, and then after 6 months or something, my wife decides to go out with a group of women, and they're sitting at table at a dinner, and they ask my wife, says, "How is your
I see
husband?"
where this is going right now, but go ahead.
She goes, "Oh, he's awesome. I got my own personal cock." And everybody, and my wife is like very introvert. And while she says that, she realized what she just said. She goes, no, in Holland, you know, and she's digging a hole deeper into it. Everybody's like, but it's true. A KOK, that's in Holland. A Fokker, you know, for the meet the Fokkers.
Yeah.
That's a typical name in Holland.
Yeah.
He had an airline company, Fokker. You know, can you imagine? If that would have stayed in business, I would always fly with Fokker.
Yeah.
Fokker. You know, it's hilarious. You know, sometimes these mistakes. There's also some things when you say a kont, KONT, is a boob, a butt cheek. But if I say here, oh, like a kont, that everybody thinks you're saying the C word.
Yeah.
You know, so these things you find out really fast because people suddenly look at you and say, oh, it's KON. Yeah, try to explain it. You know, people don't believe it anyway. But if you go to the Dutch language, you will see I'm 100% right.
Were you fighting before being about in pancreas? So what were you doing in the Netherlands that finally took you to pancreas? Because I only know pancreas as being in Japan. So what were you doing in the Netherlands at that time?
I was a Thai boxer, and I beat a bunch of guys. And then apparently I took a fight on New Year's Eve one time when I was drunk. And I didn't train for 3 years. And I was a bouncer, so that meant at 5 o'clock the club would close, and then we would go to after parties, and of course everything wrong you do at these parties. And then I was drunk, and I thought and this one guy, Frank the Animal Lotman, he was going to come out of prison. He was training in prison, and he needed a fight. And they said, "You want to fight him?" Now, since I knocked everybody out before, I thought, "Oh yeah," but that was in a whole different class. This guy was A class. He was a professional fighter. I never fought that level. But me bragging, right? I say, "Okay." So 3 weeks before the fight, I get a phone call, and they said, "Hey, where do we send the posters?" And I said, "What posters?" They said, "From the fight." I said, "Who's fighting?" He says, "You." I go, "Whoa. What do you mean? Against who?" And he goes, "Frank Lotman." I go, "The animal." Yeah. I said, "When did I say that?" And then I start thinking back, and I realized, oh, shit, I met the guy, and I probably said yes. So now I better own up to my word. But, you know, I couldn't even skip rope for 20 minutes by first class because I was completely trashed. But I took the fight. And needless to say, I lost that fight. And suddenly the backlash that I had, like I was the worst guy, but it really hurt me, right. You know, because they forgot about all my winning fights, and suddenly I was the worst fighter.
What's motivated you though?
No. At that moment, no. I said, this is it. I don't fight for the Dutch people anymore. And then I met my wife in '92, in February, and I think in June or something, she says, "Hey, you're going to be a famous fighter in Japan." And I go, "That's a weird thing to say." I said, "Because I'm not going to fight anymore." She said, "No, I know that, but you're going to go to Japan." This was before I knew about free fighting anything. A year later, I got invited to do a tryout for pancreas. They were in Amsterdam, and I go to the tryout. I knock a guy out because he tried to knock me out. He wanted to show off, I guess. I warned him twice, but he kept going, so I had to do it. And that was it. I got the job, and I was fighting in Japan. Then I'm fighting in Japan, and she, like, for 2 years in, and she goes, "We're going to go to America, you're going to have a TV show." Freaking crazy, right? And then
your wife said all this.
yeah,
to
my
you?
wife said this. It was the wildest thing. She just had this
Wow.
weird look on her face, and I go, "What's going on?" She said, "She's going to be a famous fighter in Japan." I go, "No, I would never fight again." I didn't even know. So what happened after the last time I lost, and I didn't want to fight anymore, I still wanted to do something with martial arts. And I had a partner of mine, who was my coach at the time, Taekwondo coach, Roland Jansen. He was a very technical, really good guy. He taught me a lot with the kicking and power and all that stuff, because he was the opposite of, at that time, with Taekwondo point system. He was going full power, and he taught me. And we started doing these shows on, like, to a nightclub. At midnight, the lights would go down, high-pitched music came. We came up with our freaking body pads and pumped-up bodies, and then we started doing fight scenes, and with sticks, and with nunchucks, and with break tests, and we kick cigarettes out of the mouth, and we had backflips, and all that kind of stuff. And that suddenly caught on. And then we start adding comedy to it. And now people start really gravitating towards it. Then we got on Dutch TV. We start going to European TV. Went to France. We start doing these shows everywhere. We would always come up with like backflips and somersaults. And then on one of these shows, that was when Chris Dolman, he stopped me and he says, "Hey, I remember you from Thai boxing. And now I see you do all these crazy backflips. Have you ever thought about free fighting?" That's what they called it at the time. This is all 92, you know? And that was the setup. So I gave him my number. And then when he called me, for the tryout, that was him. But that's how I got the job. Really weird. But suddenly I'm fighting in Japan.
Hey, it's 10
You
minutes.
had to appreciate the Japanese audience, though, did you? I mean, it's they're very, I'll say they're very quiet, very studious type audience, but they appreciate it. Then it's kind of like, you know, those were the biggest crowds I was ever in front of, was those Japanese crowds.
Listen, it changed my life. It changed everything. I was the guy who was very uncontrolled in fighting in Thai boxing. I won because I was just powerful at things. But if I would face a guy like a Peter Ertz at the time or something, who was A-class fighter, I would probably run out of gas and would have a problem. Because I just unloaded, and a lot of people just simply couldn't deal with that. Mm. But technically, I wasn't thinking. I was like I was in the gym much better than I was in fighting. Just my strength made me win these fights, you know? And then when I went to Japan, I think it was because of the weight difference, 28 pounds heavier, and the 1 round of 30 minutes, and I realized, I go, oh, wait a minute, if I unload in the first 1.5 minutes and the guy doesn't go down, I got 28.5 more minutes to go. So I put these big R's on my hand, which stands for rustig. Coincidentally, relax is the same word, starts also with an R. And that was it. And then when I was fighting that fight, I always tell people this. When I was doing Thai boxing, every picture you saw of me was like this. And my facial expressions were like, I was trying to kill you. And in Pancras, when I look back after my first fight, there was no emotions anymore. Right. And I was blocking everything without emotions. I was like, and I heard the American people on the first row, I heard talking what they were talking about. I never heard the corner or something. Everything became so. So I think the combination of 30-minute fights, the 28 pounds heavier, and then the complete quietness turned me into the fight. Now suddenly I became the fighter that I was in training. And that's when I put everything together. That's why, you know, when Roots of Fight came to me and they wanted to do this series with me like as a Thai boxer, I go, no, I'm the mixed martial. Go Peter Ertz, go on Ramon Dekkers, Ernesto Host. I mean, all these are great strikers from Holland. Compared to them, I'm not that great. You know, let me be the mixed martial arts guy because that's what I can do. So yeah, I always been very honest about that because this is simply the truth. But once in Japan, that's when I started flourishing, so to say.
Let people know what's all your different type of social media that where they can reach you at or something like that. Their boss, I mean, that'd be the thing that we like to let always people let to know what are your upcoming big projects that you have coming, and where can people reach you, or if you have a fan club or just, I mean, you've talked about so many wonderful things here. I mean, you've got so many different websites. Is there one place where they can do one-stop shopping?
You know, it's like on social media, like I said, I don't do crazy. I just started with crazy stories that I did, climbing out of a window 42 stories high in Japan, breaking safety things to slide over a little ridge to go to knock on a window because I thought Frank Shamrock was there, drunk out of my mind. I mean, the things that I did that you go later in life, you go, oh, dude, I could have so easy dead. You know, so I start making videos like that. It's called Tales from the Car. I do it while I'm driving in my car. I explain it to the camera. That is something that I just started with, so that needs to be picked up because like I said, I almost don't do anything on social media anymore. But one of the biggest things that I'm super excited about is Karate Combat. Karate Combat is this professional karate league, full contact karate league that takes Olympic wrestlers, taekwondo karatekas, and they put them in a pit, and a special design pit with 90-degree shaped walls that they can use to their advantage. They can run up and kick, and they can do crazy stuff. There's a takedown rule, and then you can unload for 5 seconds as well. And that has been, for the last 4 years, it's been great. We film overseas. I can't say where, but they're going to be live shows now this season. I do know that. George St. Pierre just got pulled in as well, and that was great because they said maybe they wanted to go for Steven Seagal or something. They go like, why don't you go like GSP? He's a freaking black belt karate. I mean, yeah, but how do we get him? I said, let me call him. So I text him, and he calls me immediately. He goes, dude, I love that show. I've been watching it for 2 years already. Boom, he's on board. Leota Machida, also karate guy. Boom, he's on board. You know, so we got this Josh Palmer, Leila Anna Lee, the co-host for me, Josh Palmer. Leila Anna Lee is also the host. She's awesome. And then Robin Black, he breaks down the fights. And we go on these crazy experiences because it's all CGI'd. So we're the future. We're in the past. We're going into space, and we go to special planets where we fight. And every time it's a new environment. And if you go to karate.com, you're going to find out that you've never seen anything like it. And if you see these athletes, think about it. These are Olympic level athletes performing full contact at Karate Combat. Karate.com, come over there on Thursday, tomorrow, the 16th of December actually. There's gonna be a short movie, like a 60, 70-minute movie, and that movie is just I think a compilation of the last season, the entire season. But if you love karate, I really suggest karate.com. It will give you all the information, and you're going to be pretty impressed. That's what I believe. Hear the dog. Put the microphone to him.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, watch this.
What is he doing, Dan?
Listen to this.
Quinn is speechless right now because Don doesn't have a treat in his hand. She'd probably be yapping up a storm if he had a treat.
Yeah, so funny.
The only thing that I'll break one other aspect of your career. You've been involved in several video games on top of this. I again, not till earlier, I never knew that you were involved in the video game Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 4. Guys, one of my best works, and this is not to brag, but I really had fun doing that. I have my own TV show in the video game. If you go to the Safe House, you can go to the channels, and one of the shows is In the Man's Room with Boss and Jeremy. And if you go to YouTube, you say Boss GTA 4, you will see those. There's 2 20-minute pieces. I highly suggest, if you want to see some comedy and some complete psychopath, because that's what I am. I'm like a bit of live audience, and I'm challenging the people who wants the knife fight with me in the audience, and like things like that, complete crazy man. You want to check it out. I really did a good job.
Tony shared that with me, the In the Man's Room segment there, and I was just dying laughing watching that stuff. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, I loved it. I love that work. And all the thing that you do, if you hijack a car or a carjack, you do whatever, all the fighting, that's me. And Amir Peretz, my buddy as well. Yeah. We did the motion capture for that. So all the violence, that's me as well, just in a different package.
Yeah, they just put you in the suit and they just choreograph all your different movements, right?
That's it. Yeah, with the little balls everywhere. It's a lot of fun. It was a great project. I wish I would have asked, instead of what they gave me, say give me 1/10 of 1%. That's the only thing I want, because the first weekend they sold 600 million.
Yeah.
Imagine 1/10% of that. That would have been great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Insane.
Well, Mr. Frye, where are we at this point? I mean, Boss, you said you got something that's coming up on the timeline.
Yes, I got to do a podcast with Butterbean, and we're going to interview Flex Wheeler today. I do this every Wednesday, so I thought, you know what, we're going to do this during the day, and in the evening, I just pull my laptop up, and bada bing, bada boom, I'm going to do that show.
Very good.
Yeah, but Butterbean is a great guy. You'll have a lot of fun with him.
Yeah, no, I love that guy. He's as honest as they come as well. I love it.
Yes. built like a 4x4 that has no neck, but woof, that guy, I watched many of his matches in the past.
Yeah, he makes shaving kits, with deer antlers and elk antlers and things like that.
Really cool. Yeah, he just sent me one. I sent him a note to trader, so we were trading for Christmas presents. All right.
This concludes another episode of Toxic Masculinity, and Boss, what can I say? Our special guest tonight, Boss Rutten. I've learned many new facets that I never knew about you before. Like I said, I knew that you're an author. I knew that you're an inventor of one thing, but the breathing, the O2, no, I did not know anything about that. I'm going to be looking at that and a few other things. I made a few notes on this, so it's been very educational for me. So I've actually very much been a pleasure and an honor to have you on our show.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much, Don.
Thanks.
It was a great time. I'm happy I came over. I told him, I said, I'll come to Arizona for this.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.